Hey everybody, welcome to Crimes, Killers, Cults,
And beer.
and that's Todd.
And that's Bill.
Yeah, I think this is, episode 9?
Is it 9?
Yeah.
Why does it feel like we've done more?
Maybe because it's the second time that we've recorded this one, and we had to record this, BPK a second time as well.
That's probably it.
Yeah, so if you actually it's episode 11.
Yeah, it's 11 times we sat down to record. But yeah.
Anyway, got a little bit of a shout out here that I want to do before we get started. I want to tell you about this podcast that I found. It's called Made Up Movies. They started interacting with us on Twitter, and what they do is the people on their Twitter page will send them fake movie titles, make fake movie premises, and they will, right off the top of their head, they will sit there and they will review the movie as if they've seen it. And
Oh wow,
it's freaking brilliant. I mean, they haven't been at it for very long. I mean, as far as episode count, we're pretty much neck and neck with them.
Well, so they're infants with attitudes too.
Although I think they have an actual review page, but still,
Wow.
they did an episode called Zombie Guitar.
Zombie guitar. That's great.
Yeah, and the way they did it was believable. I mean, I've listened to just about all of the episodes and everything, and it's hilarious. I mean,
Cool. I'll have to check them out.
It's brilliant. So anyway, what are you drinking tonight?
Bud Light.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I was just, I don't know, wasn't in a mood for fancy beer. I have Bud Light in the fridge, so that's what I'm drinking.
Works for me, because that's what I got in the fridge too. So, we have a doozy two-parter coming up next year, which we'll touch on later after we finish this episode. But yeah, that's one you're not going to want to miss. But
Definitely.
But as of right now, let's get started with this.
Yes, let's.
MK Ultra. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah. That was that CIA kind of mind control experiment in the 50s or something, right?
Yeah, it was an illegal CIA experiment. The people that were involved, the scientists and everything, they were top secret. And they conducted lots of clandestine experiments, including LSD trials, psychological torture, and of course mind control, which is the topic of this episode. Yeah, it officially ran between 1953 and 1973. It became public knowledge in 1975. And a lot of the top agents, basically, they were disavowed and they did not exist. So when it was basically scrapped and everything, these people, they just went along with their normal lives and nobody knew anything about it. Except one didn't.
There's always one.
I was looking on Reddit for information about MK Ultra because I eventually want to cover that.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been several podcasts that I've listened to that have done 3, 4, 5-part episodes on MK Ultra. And MK Ultra had its tentacles in so many different things and everything. It's like if we do an MK Ultra episode, I want to do something different than everybody else. I don't want to reinvent the wheel and just, So I was on this deep dive, and I came across this story about this rogue MK Ultra agent that after MK Ultra was scrapped, he went on his own and he, I guess, had backup copies of all the mind control stuff. Because this son of a bitch actually did it and made it work.
Oh shit.
He did. And this story is I think that it's not public knowledge and everything because of the fact that if it was, it'd be like a major embarrassment to the government.
Indeed.
The story is insane. The main kingpin of this or whatever, the rogue agent that continued the experimentation after MK Ultra was scrapped. He was known as Dr. X. But that might not have been his actual code name when he was part of MK Ultra. That
Right.
might have been just the code name that he came up with for himself after.
He gave himself
After the fact.
to try to sound cool and sinister.
Right, and that way it wouldn't, because let's say that his code name in MK Ultra was Dr. Loosey Goose. If he continued as Dr. Loosey Goose, then he obviously
He probably would have got as far as he did.
Right, and he became like super wealthy. He started off as a drug dealer, like dealing like heroin and stuff like that, and everything, and that basically funded his experimentation and basically continuing the MK Ultra experiments like underground and completely anonymous.
Yeah, well, he doesn't exist, so
So
well, officially doesn't exist.
Officially doesn't exist, and actually, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, with the resources that he had, he might look different than he did when he was with the CIA.
Oh, yeah, I could see that happen.
Dr. X, whoever the hell he is, he began recruiting like unwitting upstarts and everything. Yeah, he was specifically targeting college kids who were part of the anti-government activists and everything that were like demonstrating. This is in the mid '80s, so there was. You hear that?
Yeah, I totally heard that one.
God, I hope it doesn't start pouring because we might have to take a time out.
All right.
That one was a lot louder than the previous.
It was. I heard that one real clear.
This was in the early '80s, and and he was crack and heroin and everything were all the rage and all that stuff, and he was looking for people to recruit that had drug problems. Dr. X had developed a fatalistic view of the U.S. government, and it's crazy because the U.S. government gave him the means to basically achieve his wealth after everything that he did.
Well, yeah, but they also fucking disavowed him, shit canned his ass. So wouldn't you hate that?
Well,
But,
true.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah,
though. I mean, they gave him the means to
that.
do what he wanted to do,
but
at the same time, it's like he probably, if maybe he wouldn't have done all this shit if the government had not been such dicks. But they had to be because it's like public outrage.
Yeah, well,
shit, so.
Well, I guess it's a good thing because what he did with MK Ultra on his own. Can you imagine if that was like an official CIA project?
Yeah.
I mean, like think of the movie The Naked Gun and that scene where O.J. Simpson, they do a code word
right.
and he goes and he tries to kill the queen.
If the glove does not fit, you must acquit.
Basically.
Sorry, I had to.
Well, hey, maybe they actually did get O.J. Simpson. So, anyway, but yeah, that's just scary.
Yeah, it is.
The thing is like, okay, well, if they got a hold of you and used you with this, you would never freaking know it because they could actually, they just say a freaking code word, and all of a sudden you're under their control.
Yeah, no shit.
And you're not going to know anything. They can pull you off the street, shoot you up with drugs and everything, and then like do the code word.
Yeah, that's scary shit, man, for sure.
Yeah, it is. In New York City in 1985, there were anarchist activists, and they were protesting the government. They were led by one in particular junkie, a guy named Nicky Jackson. Nicky is the source of all of this, and we'll cover that later in the episode. But he had grown up normally as far as we can tell, but in college he had several stints of bad luck. He was broke and he got kicked out of college.
Oh yeah.
And Yeah. And at that point, he became addicted to heroin and he was living on the streets. And that caused him to be disillusioned about the system and the government and the media and religion. And he just hated everything. He began preaching to like anyone who would listen. And, like on street corners and everything. Hey, listen to me. The government, it's not for all the people. It's for some of the people.
Right. So he became like the lunatic on the street corner saying the end is near, the world's going to end and all that crap, basically.
Yeah, he was the crazy guy on the street, but he also got, like-minded crazy people to listen because drugs were bad in the 80s.
Okay.
So he became convinced that government greed is what allowed heroin into the mainstream America.
He's probably right.
Yeah, he is probably right. Just say no. Oh man, you remember those?
Right.
You remember those DARE? Remember those DARE bumper stickers? Drug abuse resistance education. There was a band, and we're not going into like band talk on this one, but there was a band that I was friends with called Scurvy the Clown, and I actually played a couple of shows with them. But they made bumper stickers that took that exact font, DARE. Instead of drug abuse resistance education, they put drugs are really expensive.
Dude, I remember Scurvy. They were fucking great, dude, and that just makes them even more awesome.
Yeah, drugs are really expensive. And you know what? That would have been a better way to go about the whole campaign. Yes. Drugs are really expensive. Anyway. Hashtag, but I digress.
Yes.
So he hated using heroin, but he just couldn't stop using it because he was so hooked. Nicky didn't realize this, but he was wanting to get noticed when he was doing all of this stuff. But little did he realize somebody did notice him.
Oh.
Dr. X noticed him.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. And he had been forming an underground network of corrupt politicians, basically just using them to further his cause. Mm-hmm. He led them to believe that it's like, okay, well, we've got something going on here. We're gonna change the system. We're gonna eradicate the fascists and everything. And basically, he let these corrupt politicians think that he was gonna start a freaking revolution. Of course, what all of these corrupt politicians and whatnot didn't realize that he was just using them to create all this power and wealth for himself.
Oh yeah.
Nicky is enticed into Dr. X's organization under the guise that he's not only going to basically cure all of the greed and everything that was present in the United States and everything, but also that he might have a cure for his heroin addiction as well.
Oh. Which,
like I said before, he didn't like being on heroin. He was addicted and he couldn't stop. So it's like, okay, I hate America and I hate heroin, and he's going to give me the cure for both. So I'm in.
Right.
But all Dr. X did was keep him addicted to the heroin.
Of course.
Yeah, he did it like as a, like, okay, we got to wean you off of it.
Right.
Yeah, because if you try to stop this cold turkey and everything, it's going to be hell on you. And it's like, I need your charisma. I need you to work.
Right. That's that whole come to the dark side. We have cookies. But then you get there and there's no cookies.
Exactly. It also makes Dr. X a cult leader.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Not a religious cult.
Hey, a cult's a cult.
Yeah, other types of cults have come around like over the past 30, 40 years and everything. Scientology, Nexium, and everything. Those aren't religious. Well, Scientology is, but Nexium's not.
Well, let's not even get started about Scientology right now, please. Fuck.
That's a future multi-part episode.
Yes, indeed.
Hope we don't get sued.
Yeah. Or killed, and then have our bodies dumped out over the ocean by John Travolta in his jet.
Yeah.
Shit, did I say that out loud? Fuck my life. Okay, right. Never mind.
shit, you're gonna have Scientology after you after this episode. I'm gonna have the U.S. government after me for like blowing the lid off of this story.
Right? Hey, well,
we both gotta watch our back.
We're wanted men in 12 systems. No, I have the death sentence in 12 systems. That's what mine was. Fuck, I'm a nerd. God damn it.
Yeah, then Obi-Wan says, 12 systems? Bitch, I've got the death sentence on every system.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Dude, that would have been so cool if George Lucas made him say something like that to actually tie in Order 66, like he was actually thinking
absolutely.
about that before.
Absolutely.
But we know that didn't happen. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Hashtag, but I digress.
Yes.
So he's just like, okay, well, we're gonna wean you off of it and everything. So he starts weaning him off of it and everything. But when it starts to look like Nikki is starting to do something, like make progress with it, something would happen that would cause Nikki to relapse and everything. And I'm sure that it was just Dr. X pulling the string.
Oh, absolutely. Had to be.
So he would relapse, and then Dr. X was able to, use the heroin to condition him to be suggestible or susceptible to, like, command. And basically, MK Ultra worked.
Yeah.
He would say a code word while Nikki was, like, on heroin. The code word would turn him into a docile person, just basically able to be commanded to carry out any task that Dr. X wanted done.
That's scary.
That is freaking very scary. I don't know. I can't imagine being a sentient robot.
Yeah, me neither, dude. That's just creepy.
Yeah, it just, that's the shit that horror movies are made out of, and I mean, the Naked Gun, as I mentioned earlier, they kind of made fun of it and everything, but this shit actually happened.
Right?
And
fucking creepy.
I mean, the government hasn't denied any of this. They just kind of, we're
swept it all under the rug and just said, you didn't see nothing. So you didn't see what you think you just saw.
I think if the government has control of the weather, I think that they're trying to shut me down right now. Did you just hear that?
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, they got the Harper Ray aimed at your house right now.
At first, Dr. X used Nikki to recruit more members into his organization because he's basically trying to form a freaking mafia, a mob, or something like that. Yeah, with him as the kingpin. Spoiler alert, he does. But Nikki is becoming very high up in the organization. So Dr. X just basically makes him not a number two. I don't think that there's nothing in the story about there being a number two. But Nikki basically was the number two.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
As a reward for Nikki, like on the surface, and it was another way actuality, it was another way for Dr. X to like really get his talons.
It's another form of control.
Yeah. He introduced Nikki to Father William. He was a corrupt priest that was in his network. William, he was basically running a prostitution ring out of his church. Douchebag.
What a sick fuck.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled a prostitute off the street, and he had done this with multiple prostitutes, but he had pulled a prostitute off of the street. This one was named Mary, and he promised her that he'd get her clean and all that stuff. She was hooked on drugs and whatnot, but that's not what happened. He basically started, keeping her hooked on drugs and basically pimping her out.
Oh, the whole nun fantasy.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm sure that was part of it too. You want to fuck a nun?
Yeah, I've got one.
I got one, and he had more than one. But
of course, but you know.
Yeah, but she was under 18. Yes, I think she was like 16 when. I mean, she was already out on the street and everything, but I think that she was like 16 when when Father William got a hold of her. And the thing is, this guy's a Catholic priest and everything, and he's still sitting there. Yeah, he's still sitting there doing the, preaching to a sermon of unwitting, congregation members every Sunday and whatnot. And meanwhile, he's basically running a brothel.
Yeah.
And he, like Dr. X, made sure that she stayed hooked on drugs because that's the only way that he could control her.
Yep, keep control. Yep.
Yeah. And he had her posing as a nun, but instead, I mean, he was violating her. Yeah, he was having his way with her whenever the hell he wanted because she was apparently very attractive. And
well,
yeah, and he was pimping her out too. But she was basically given to Nikki as a toy, a plaything. Like Dr. X said, Dr. X said, "Hey, I need a girl to give to one of my guys." He was like, "Okay, I got this one. She's really pretty. There you go."
I need a distraction, basically.
Yeah, exactly. This guy, Dr. X, I mean, you got to give credit where credit is due. He knew what the hell he was doing.
He did. I mean, he's a piece of shit, but yeah. He knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
He knew how to work it.
Yeah, he had politicians, he had religious leaders and everything. He had them eating out of his freaking hands.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, he wasn't, like, as smart as he liked to think that he was because something happened that he didn't see coming.
Uh-oh.
Nikki began developing feelings for Mary. And she started developing feelings for him.
Ooh, the beginning of the end.
Yeah. And they were in love in times when they were actually, like straight, not on the heroin and everything. They started questioning Dr. X.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. During this time, Nikki, unbeknownst to him, he had been carrying out hits ordered by Dr. X. Yeah, when he was like under the influence of heroin and the code word. And he didn't even know he was doing it. But several New York City local politicians, some reporters and a couple judges, they were all killed. And nobody knew how to do, who had done it and everything. And everybody was thinking, it's like, okay, there's not just a serial killer, but there's a domestic terrorist on the loose because of who was being targeted.
Right.
But like I said before, MK Ultra worked.
It did. Apparently. Fuck. That's creepy. Goddamn.
I mean, I think he killed like 6 or 7 different people. And
wow.
Yeah, and that's what that's what I'm led to believe from from the documentation of it. I studied this shit for a long time. I mean, it's just like I was looking through this before we even started the podcast. I found it. I was just like waiting for a chance to do it. And I wanted to get something really good, like a really good write up on it and everything. And so I'm just like, okay, now is the
time. Yes.
And I don't even mind that we had to re-record it because my file was corrupted.
Right.
Because this is better than what we had initially.
I think so.
So far, yeah. So, unlike the BTK episode that we had to re-record. Yeah. I'm not saying don't listen to the BTK episodes because if you want to, go ahead. But I'm just saying it's just like it wasn't.
Yeah, that one, the first one was better, definitely. But hey, it is what it is.
Yeah. If you want to hear a podcast host having a freaking psychological meltdown, listen to that episode.
Yeah, right.
Because I totally did.
What happened.
We weren't ready to. We weren't ready
totally
to take
what
on.
Happened.
We weren't ready to take on a heavy hitter like that.
Well, I was, but you weren't because
I was the one telling the story.
It really affected you. Yeah, that's why though. I wasn't telling the story. I probably would have reacted the same way.
Dr. X notices a change in me, and he realizes that he might be losing his grip on him, and he orders him to kill Mary and to get the priest as well. Why? Well, because the priest is a risk at this
Yeah.
point, because he wasn't able to maintain his grip on the priest. The priest wasn't able to keep Mary in line. Basically, Nikki wasn't supposed to fall in love with Mary. It's supposed to be.
No, she was just supposed to be a plaything.
Yeah, exactly. So he
never underestimate the power of pussy.
Yeah. Well, he obviously doesn't want to do it, but and this is, he doesn't drop the code word. He wants, this is another power grab. He wants Nikki to do it just because he told him to. So Dr. X is escalating at this point.
Do it.
So he goes to the church, and just right off the bat, he just drops the priest, just shoots him, and he fell into like a bowl that had the holy water in it. After he dispatches the priest, which, good riddance, asshole.
Yeah, I know, right? Piece of shit.
Yeah,
Can you imagine what he was doing to other kids?
Yeah, I mean, this guy.
Fuck
I mean,
me,
shit. He probably had a. It's Catholic, so he probably had like a sexual fucking ring of fucking boys too. All right.
Anyway,
I haven't gotten this fucked up about something since B2K, but just the thought of kids,
Yes, it's the whole kids thing that's just wrong.
I mean, it's wrong to do it to an adult, but it's like 100 times more wrong to do it to a kid.
Yeah.
After he kills the priest, he goes for Mary. He doesn't kill her, and instead, it's like the two of them like just start talking and all that stuff. And he told her that he doesn't want to be part of that anymore. So he decides to go confront Dr. X and say that he wants out. But Dr. X says that he can't leave because he'd wind up back on the streets as a total junkie, like living in dumpsters and stuff like that with absolutely nothing. When in Dr. X's organization, he's somebody.
Yeah. He's like high up.
Yeah, he is. And since he dropped out of college, since he got kicked out of college, he doesn't really have anything, and plus he hates the system and all that stuff anyway.
Yeah.
So, I wonder if the person who wrote all this stuff out is still alive.
I don't know. I hope so.
I hope so too.
Because it doesn't bode well for us if they're not.
Yeah, exactly. Because of he. I mean, why isn't the story like big time?
Well, government sweeping it all under the carpet.
Well, they missed this one, and that's why it's like that's why I wonder if the guy that put this story up is still alive.
Yeah, or maybe the government's just going to do the whole fucking conspiracy theory thing with it. Well, you know what? You can believe it if you want or not. We say it's not true.
So
who knows? Whatever. It is what it is.
It is what it is. So Nikki leaves Dr. X, and he shoots up again. He relapses, and then he goes to Mary, only to find her dead.
Oh shit!
She's dead. And, but he had shot up really bad. He panics, thinking that he had killed her, and he loses his mind and starts running around the streets and everything, calling her name like Mary, Mary. And that, of course, is going to attract the attention to, people and everything. Yes. So they call the police, and the police come and he's arrested. And when he's arrested, they find a gun on him. And yeah, more I mean, he's charged with Mary's murder. They also charge him as a person of interest or a suspect with the person that had carried out the hits of the politicians and everything. You know why?
Oh, fuck no. He used the same gun.
He used the same gun. The gun that he had on matched up to the gun that was used to kill
the ballistics.
Yeah.
Sorry, I watch a lot of CSI. I know all these words.
So he's now like the prime suspect in the three of murders as a domestic terrorist. And you know what? The fact that he's like being classified as a potential domestic terrorist makes the end of the story like outrage. You know?
Oh yeah.
So,
but dude, it's like really like, dude, if he worked for this guy, I mean, he should have had access to an arsenal of weapons.
Yeah.
Why did he use the same gun every time? I mean, unless that's what Dr. X wanted, like use the same gun so that all gets tied to you and not me.
Right. Dr. X doesn't give a shit about Nicky or anybody else.
Oh, Jesus, dude. Like, really? Why would you use the same gun to kill so many different people, dude? Different guns. Make it look like different people.
Right. But, yeah.
I'm not a serial killer, by the way. Don't get scared.
But that's just how, diabolical that freaking Dr. X was.
No shit, right?
It's like, okay, this guy, he's like really high up in my organization, but I don't give two shits about him. I'm going to give him one fucking gun. Tell him, go home and wait by the phone. Mary's dead, but he's ultimately cleared of Mary's murder because forensics revealed that it was a suicide. She had hung herself. I guess she couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah.
Apparently she was a pretty sweet woman.
Yep. I guess so.
Yeah. And
for a junkie.
Yeah, and I guess she just reached the breaking point and couldn't take it anymore. It's like she just lost it. But Nicky had completely blacked out. Yeah, and it was possibly as a result of all of the mind control, the mind fuck that he had been on.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, basically Dr. X was like completing like a crime against Nicky's mind.
Uh-huh.
And he had completely lost his memory. I mean, he literally didn't remember anything at all.
Wow.
So he's put into a mental hospital. I mean, he hasn't gone to court yet, but he's put into a mental hospital and everything for under observation and testing and all that stuff. And after time, and it's not clear how much time, according to what I found, but after time, his memory returns, and he literally confesses to everything. Yeah, he basically tells the entire story that I've just told. That's all. This was based on his confession.
Mm-hmm.
As a result of that, he was tried, and he was sentenced to life in prison, as well he should be. I mean, it's just like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they didn't believe the story of the MK Ultra, and the code words and all that stuff and everything. Yeah. They didn't believe that. I mean, at this point, it's like 1988 or something like that.
Right.
Maybe 86. I don't know. It's
somewhere in there.
But yeah, it's like they don't know. So he's found guilty. Like I said, he's found guilty and he's sentenced to life in prison. But this is mind-numbing. Yeah, granted, he was basically manipulated into doing all of these things. Still, he did it, and he recalled every bit of it.
Yeah, and he confessed to being like basically a hitman for the mob.
Yeah, a secondary mob, a shadow government.
But you know what I mean, though. But basically,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, and he got paroled after 18 years.
What?
He got paroled after 18 years. How the hell does he get paroled after 18 years?
I don't know. Was he just like a model prisoner?
Doubt it. Everything about this is redacted. I'm going off of this as, basically of the information that I had found. Everything was redacted. It's true though, because if you look up Dr. X online, you're gonna find a bunch of shit about him. So it's not it's underground, but the government's not taking they're not confirming or denying any of
it. We sound like a bunch of tinfoil hat wearing conspiracy nuts right now.
We do. Oh,
but that's all right.
And speaking of that, the Illuminati does not exist.
No, they don't have. It's a joke.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I know people will freaking die on that sword. Right now, I'm going to ruin your life.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry.
Yes, the Illuminati does not exist.
No. And you know why? Because the election of Donald Trump as President of the United States of America proved that the Illuminati does not exist. If the Illuminati,
yes, it does.
If the Illuminati existed, then Donald Trump would have never been elected president.
No, because he's totally outside what they claim the Illuminati stands for.
Exactly. Now, if there were like a shadow government and all that stuff, and like controlling absolutely everything, then guess what? They would have made
never would happen.
They would have made Donald Trump disappear. But instead,
it never would happen.
Yep. Instead, he got elected president.
Yeah. So there you go. Proof positive. There's no Illuminati.
Right. So we're not saying, hey, Donald Trump is great, and we're not saying, hey, Donald Trump sucks, because we're not a political podcast. All we're saying is, if the Illuminati existed, Donald Trump does not get elected president.
Yes. So proof positive right there, all you conspiracy nuts.
Write it down. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, hashtag sorry, not sorry.
And I'll be honest with you, I am glad that the Illuminati doesn't exist.
I know, dude. Could you really imagine a world where that shit really went on? Dude, it would be so much worse than it is right now.
Well, it would be something that we would be, covering on Bill and Todd's Excellent Digression.
Yeah, and we'd be dead.
Yeah.
But the fact that we're not dead just kind of even drives the point home even more.
Oh, we're not dead yet. We haven't released the episode yet.
Oh. I didn't think about that. Fuck.
So, anyway,
so if you don't hear from us in like 2 weeks, then we are dead and everything is true.
And our next episode, we're blowing the lid off of a cult. But we'll get to that when we finish this.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah, if we make it that far. So, anyway, when Nikki was released, there were people, like protesting as he came out as a free man. That still baffles me of like how he was fucking released, because the ruling class doesn't like it when you fuck with them.
No, but he had to have been a model prisoner, dude, and the parole board was like, dude, he spent a model prisoner for 18 years.
Or maybe it was an oversight.
Rehabilitated, let's let him out.
Maybe it was an oversight. I don't know.
Maybe it was the Illuminati.
The Illuminati doesn't exist. Anyway, there were people protesting when he was released. And he just yelled at him. He threw his freaking hands up and he's like, I'm an American!
Yes.
And
America.
But after he got released, and like as I mentioned before, it's like all the information that we had, for the first part of this came from his confession. But after he was released, he started a cryptic diary, or journal, a cryptic journal.
Dude, I want to have a cryptic journal.
You don't want this one.
That just sounds cool.
You don't want, trust me, you don't want this guy's cryptic journal.
No, not his. I want to write my own.
But
that just sounds cool.
But you're not cryptic.
How do you know? You don't know that. You're right. I'm not. I could never do it. But hey,
Crimes, Killers,
cool.
Cults, and Beer is looking for a new co-host. That is not cryptic.
Oh, fuck my life. Anyway,
you're fired, but not until the end of this episode. And if I can't find anybody to replace you, then you're not fired.
then I'm rehired. Okay, cool.
So, anyway, but in this cryptic diary, and it's found later, and we'll get into that. But still, basically, we need to put this part in right here because he's still like, oh, I hate the government. I blame, it's like the government, Dr. X, the media, religion. They're like responsible for every single thing that has ever gone wrong in my entire life. He doesn't. He's just like, okay, I don't care.
So he's blaming everybody but himself.
Everybody but himself, and you can kind of give him a pass because he didn't remember anything of the murders that
he's a junkie. Who cares if he doesn't remember?
Right.
I mean, but he did when he was forced to detox. But he's a fucking junkie, dude. He deserves no pass.
No, absolutely not. And he's a freaking murderer. He's a serial killer. Yeah, well, but no, he's a spree killer. He's a spree.
He's a hitman.
Yeah, he's a hitman.
I mean, that's not a serial killer. He's a mass murderer.
Right.
That's what it is.
Exactly. But Dr. X has, in the 18 years that he has become, that in the 18 years that Nikki was in prison, Dr. X became very rich, very powerful. And still nobody knew who he was or how to get him. I mean, the guy covered his tracks, like, immensely.
He was invisible.
Yeah, he invisible. And, he had at this point, he had a multitude of people working for him. And
well, that's what happens when you don't get your own hands dirty.
Right.
You get people to do your dirty work for you, and you're untouchable. Nobody even knows who you are.
And plus, he might not have been, carrying out hits anymore, but maybe he was just like, okay, well, the shit with Nikki, and the priest and Mary and everything, I got close to being found out then. So it's just like, okay,
he got lazy. He slipped up.
But there weren't, any crazy hits on, political and religious leaders and all that stuff.
Yeah, without Nikki, he's got no fall guy.
Right. Well, he's not doing that. But he's still probably using the fucking MK Ultra mind control on other people.
He's just doing it to make bitches fucking follow him and fucking suck his cock and shit.
Maybe.
He's like, look, I learned how to do all this shit. I made this one dude kill a whole bunch of people back in the 80s, but now maybe I'll just use it on bitches and get fucking laid.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe he.
Just saying.
You remember in Night Court when Harry Stone put together that mustache and glasses and everything to put on the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
You think
I do.
You think Dr. X might have gotten a hold of Harry Stone? Hashtag, but I digress.
I digress. No. Maybe. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, so Nikki decides that he's going to go after Dr. X. He wants to kill him. But in his journal, but in his journal, he'd be writing, it's just like, okay, America sucks, Dr. X sucks, and it would always drift back into, things about Mary. It's like, oh, Mary, 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 and all that stuff. Yeah. It's like he would start okay, Dr. X is a piece of shit that needs to die, and I'm just paraphrasing. I mean, there were some pages that I found, but that's basically what he'd start rambling about Dr. X, or rambling about the government and everything. And he's sitting there writing and everything, and all of a sudden it would just divulge into Mary.
Like what? Like it's hallucinating, seeing her ghost or something?
Could be. But the thing
Because,
is,
I mean, I'm sure he was still having hallucinations, dude, because, I mean, dude,
well,
and whatever, 18
may,
years, dude, I'm sure he was still getting heroin in prison, dude, you know what I mean? He's
well,
still fucking...
yeah, he could have been, but still, I don't care. I mean, it's just like, I can't see, I mean, they couldn't have been together more than 2 months. You know?
Like I said earlier, man, the power of pussy compels you.
Yeah, but he's 18 years in prison. Is he still like going like nuts over Mary?
Yeah.
They were together for like maybe 2 months tops, and I'm just guessing.
Dude, if he was the first girl he fell in love with, fuck yeah, he's still fucking fixated on her, dude.
He could be, or
You know what I'm
maybe,
saying?
or maybe she was his you know the maybe she
If
was
she
his
was his first
happy spot.
sexual encounter, he's definitely still fucking fixated on her, no matter
Well, I
what.
don't think it was his. I don't think it was his first sexual encounter. I mean, he was
Well,
in
I'm just
college.
saying, bro.
He was in college.
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying,
he was in college when
dude.
not
Maybe he was. Maybe he was like crazy. Maybe he
unless
was
you're
like nobody liked his opinions. You know?
unless you're a total freaking loser, you don't get out of college without getting laid.
Maybe he was. We don't know. Maybe that's why he fucking turned to drugs and turned to activism.
I
Maybe he
think
was
that
trying to impress a girl. Maybe
I
he was
think
trying to
that
impress a girl in college, and that's why he turned to activism.
no, he lost everything. He got kicked out of college.
Come on, man. Stop bumming on my story. Even though I know you said that earlier,
Now
that's fine. But you know what I mean?
there's a lot of speculation in this. I mean, yeah, it's all open to speculation because we only have two sources, and both of them
Yeah.
are Nikki. Both sources are Nikki. We have we have the journal, and we have his confession. So, but maybe he left something out of the journal. Maybe he was like so fixated on Mary because he's wanting to run away with her and everything, but he went back and he found her dead, and maybe he used Mary as a maybe he fantasized about Mary when he was being ass plowed in prison.
Probably.
I don't know.
I mean, fuck, dude. Yeah, why not?
But then again, he was an enforcer. I don't know. Just speculation. Just speculation.
Yeah, we're just speculating here.
Yeah. Yeah. You kind of want to feel bad for him, but you also don't.
Right? Yeah, no, you don't want to feel I mean, you want to, but you don't because, like, whatever. Poor guy went through a bunch of shit.
But it goes back to like, like any serial killer or whatever that we're going to cover
He
on
was
this.
such a nice boy.
No, it's just when, like serial killers in childhood that they had like all sorts of a horrific childhood and everything. You feel bad for the kid.
Yeah.
But you know what? I had a shitty childhood.
You don't feel
too.
bad for the adult that kills people.
Right. Anybody that had a bad childhood could have grown up to be a serial killer, but you know what? They didn't. So it's just like
Yeah.
So you feel sorry for the innocent child who had a horrific childhood. You feel sorry about that, but you don't give a shit when they take that and become a serial killer or something like that.
Yeah,
so,
dude.
So anyway, enough of that. But I mean, I think that digression was a little necessary.
Yes, it was.
Hashtag, but I digress.
Yes, we digress.
So
a lot.
Like after Nikki gets released from prison and everything, what had to have been a technicality.
So he could have been a model prisoner, but yeah, you're right. It's probably a technicality.
But he doesn't change his act. I mean, he immediately gets arrested for robbery.
Oh, well then, yeah, technicality.
Yeah, exactly. But the judge throws the fucking book at him, and he said it's obviously you can't have double jeopardy. He was already convicted of the murders and everything. But you know what? The judge looked at his rap sheet, at his records, and you know what? And everybody knew who he was when he was arrested. Because the dude never left New York City.
Oh, shit.
They knew who he was. The judge knew who he was, obviously. He had his records like sitting in front of him and everything. So it's just like, okay, a robbery. I break into a house or a business and I steal some stuff. You might get 5 years or less or whatever. But when you have the records that he has, you killed politicians and judges and media people and religious people, like priests,
Yeah.
basically a serial killer or a mass killer or whatever.
Yeah, mass murderer. He was a mass murderer.
Right. The judge is going to be like, okay, your robbery, based on your past record, you're still at it. You haven't been rehabilitated, so guess what? 20 years to life.
Life in prison again.
Which is what he should have gotten in the first place.
He did get life in the first place. They just let him out.
So he decides that Dr. X, the government, legal system, and blah, 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 are to blame for his murder. He had nothing to do with it.
He blamed everybody but himself. Yep.
Right. He's been convicted, and he's going away for a long freaking time.
Because of his past record.
Because of his past record. It's like, it's not double jeopardy, but they can say, hey, okay, well, you killed a bunch of people and somehow got released. So guess what? You stole a goldfish from somebody's house, and you're. Did I just say a goldfish? You stole a goldfish.
You did.
That
wasn't
wasn't
Nemo.
All right, we'll go with it. He stole a goldfish, and he got basically sentenced for life because of stealing the fucking goldfish.
Because he stole a goldfish.
Oh my god!
I guess he wanted a pet.
No, I just said that. It just popped into my freaking head. I don't know why, but
I know. I was running with it.
No,
anyway.
I'm just letting the listeners know. I didn't have that written down. It just popped into my head.
All right, then.
As he's being transported to prison, he escapes. And then he tracks Dr. X down. Nobody can find him. Nobody knows who the fuck he is, but apparently Nikki knows. And
he remembers.
Yeah, he remembers. But he's able to track Dr. X down. And there's a chase. And then finally Nikki corners him. And Dr. X is just like taunting him. It's like, I made you. You owe me because I made you. I took you out of the streets and all that stuff. And this is all in Nikki's journal. Yeah, he was very detailed about it. And Nikki's just like, I don't owe you anything. I owe you nothing. And finally, Nikki apparently had enough of it, and he just blows fucking Dr. X away. He's dead. And
oh, shit.
At that point, I mean, you would think that he would just, if he knew how to find Dr. X, you would think he would just give him to the FBI or the CIA or whatever. Because they wanted him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Nah, Nikki just wanted to straight up fucking kill that dude.
Yeah, but...
For all the shit he put him through.
But still, he's an escaped convict at this point. And, because he was about to go to prison for the robbery. Mm-hmm. But he would have to leave the country. And to be honest with you, I don't think he's smart enough to find his way out of the country.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, but you know what? He figured, hey, I'm going to jail anyway. I'm going to kill this fucker before I really go back.
Oh, man. So he's on the run now after killing Dr. X. But that doesn't change anything for him. And once again, this is all in his journal. You would think that it's like if after he killed Dr. X, his like ultra nemesis and all that stuff, you would think that he would just be done with it.
That he'd be free from his past.
But no. Nope.
No.
He completely loses his mind after that. And he's like writing his journal's like 100 pages. Yeah, this dude just like totally out of his mind, just writing down everything. It took a while to really like put together what his notes were, but eventually somebody did. And he winds up holed up in this shithole somewhere in New York City and everything. And the last words in his journal were C. Mary S.O.O. And there's blood all over the page. When he was found, the diary was open and he had a gun in his hand. He had blown his brains out.
He couldn't wait till he finished the word?
No, apparently not.
Uh,
Maybe he was like
yeah.
playing Russian roulette with one hand
But
with a
damn, dude,
revolver.
like seriously, dude, like
it doesn't say
finish
what
your
kind of gun that
entry
he had.
and then pow.
Like this whole thing reminds me of like that scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail where they were like where they found the Og carved into the wall and everything, and they're like,
Yeah.
well, maybe he died while carving it, and they're like, no, he wouldn't have carved Og. He would have just said Og, and he would have just died. So, God, that's what this reminded me of.
Yes, it's like, see, Mary. Fuck, I didn't finish soon.
Well, that's why I think he was playing Russian roulette as he was writing, like left hand, because if you have a revolver, like a small revolver,
that, he was like, see, Mary, and he was just spinning the chamber, like
right.
Or actually didn't spin it. He spun it once and was just like clack, 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 singing Mary, clack, clack, clack.
Boom. Yeah. And there's blood all over it and everything. And yeah, he was found decaying several days later of obviously self-inflicted gunshot wounds with that frickin' journal in his lap, doused with his own fucking blood.
Did he have cats?
What?
Did he have cats? Because, cats will eat your corpse if you die.
He was in he was like holed up somewhere. I mean, he wasn't like at his house.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, dude. If you die and cats don't get fed for a while, they eat you. They'll eat your body.
It's just another fucking cat story.
Yes, it's another cat story.
Oh,
I'm a cat guy, dude. I have 7 cats, man. Shit.
Okay, you got to put cats into a story like this?
Yeah, why not?
Why would you?
Because that's where my mind goes. Because I'm deathly terrified that if I die, like in my bed, then my cats are going to eat me.
Oh my God! What would you care if they did? You'd be dead. You wouldn't know. Good God! This is like the second time in our podcast that you brought up cat stories.
I know. Dude, what can I say, dude? I'm a crazy cat lady. Who knows? Who cares?
Oh, God. Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
Todd, you're not going to believe this, but we have a sponsor.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, we're going to play the ad right now. And it's just like cats. Are you going to keep doing the fucking cat thing?
Maybe.
Anyway, one of our previous subjects, they took out an ad with us and everything. We're going to run with it. It's Christine Falling and her child care service. So we're going to run that ad. And here it goes. And we'll be right back.
Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Mama Christine loves you the rest of your life.
That's right. At Mama Christine's Fallings Child Care Center, we specialize in all things child care with specific attention on sleeping disorders and bad behavior. Colicky baby? No problem. Acting out and refusing to go to sleep too? We got this. Using our health department approved methods of tender and gentle sleep therapy, we guarantee that after one session at Mama Christine Fallings Child Care Center, you will never hear a peep from your child again or your money back. Mama Christine Falling loves your child as much as she loves her own. Mama Christine Falling Child Care Center, because sleep shouldn't be for the privileged few.
Individual results may vary. Mama Christine Fallings Child Care Center is not responsible for any accidental death that may or may not have been the result of smotheration.
Okay, thanks a lot to Christine Falling
Child care service. Sounds like a place I want to send my kids.
You know what? This whole thing was like kind of seemed familiar to me.
Yeah, it did, didn't it?
Yeah. And, But I remember now. I remember how it started. I can't remember yesterday.
Yesterday.
But you know what I do remember? We just got every single one of you that wasn't a metalhead.
Yes. Yes, we did.
Because this whole story that we just told was Operation Mindcrime and Operation Mindcrime Part 2 by the heavy metal band Queensryche.
I'm sure a lot of people figured it out, but
Well,
if you didn't, we got you.
yeah, I mean, any metalhead that was listening to it's going to be like, hey,
Yeah.
I know what you're doing. So
I know what you're doing, and I friggin' love it.
Yep. And we're going to send this to the band.
Hopefully they'll enjoy it.
Hopefully they enjoy it. And this was initially supposed to be like an April Fool's Day joke for next year, but I decided, like, you know what? Let's do it now because we're trying to build an audience.
Yeah. April 1st next year is too fucking far away.
Exactly. Yeah, we're trying to build an audience. So if Queensryche likes
Yeah.
this and they push it out, and you know what? A bunch more people will find out about us. So absolutely.
I hope so.
Anyway.
Either that or they're going to fucking say, take it down because no.
Nah, they won't do that.
I hope not, but you know what I mean.
Anyway, but I teased it earlier in the episode, and we're gonna, next episode we're gonna, we got to do this for you. We're covering our first cult episode, and it is a cult that not very many people have covered at all. As of right now, there are only 4 episodes on this cult, and I'm on one of them. So you might be wondering, why would I be a guest on a cult episode on another podcast? Well, I'll tell you. It's because I was a part of the cult.
Ooh.
Grew up in it. I got out of it probably about a year before I met Todd.
Yeah.
That's going to be a 2-part episode. The podcast that I was on, that I mentioned, it's called Human Monsters. And they had me and 2 other people that were part of that cult on for an interview. Well, this isn't going to be these next 2 episodes aren't going to be an interview. Basically, it's going to be, episode 1 is going to be a timeline of the cult itself. And then episode 2 is going to be my experience with it.
Bro.
Todd knows nothing about this. I'm okay with talking about it with people, but Todd wasn't one of the people that I talked to. And that's okay.
Yeah, it's totally cool, bro.
It is. But I'm also going to, it's like I've known Todd for 30 plus years. And
yeah, we're old.
Yeah. So, but you know what? Todd's going to be with me the first time that I ever told the entire fucking story. And I'm going to fucking do
brother.
it. Anyway, there's that. Check us out. Our stuff is on social media. My original music is on all platforms, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Just look for Bill Selby and you'll find it.
And I have a band that plays like retro 80s music called Retroactive Days. We just fired our drummer because he was an egotistical piece of shit.
Oh, damn.
So we're kind of like in flux right now. We do have a new drummer in mind, and we're going to have an audition. And hopefully, by the time you hear this, we'll be playing again. So if you're ever in Brevard County, Florida, look us up, Retroactive Days on Facebook. Our schedule's there. If you're in Brevard County, Florida, and we're playing a time that you're here, and you want to come out and see us, come on out. Say hi to me. Say, hey, I listen to Crimes, Killers, Cults, and Beer, and I'll buy you a fucking beer. Because that's just the kind of guy I am.
All right, and until next time, check into the next episode, and we will see you then. Until then, later.
Cheers, everybody.
to see